Hey everyone, welcome all, welcome back to my channel if you're not new. I am the Moonlight Priestess, and today I want to talk to the collective about spiritual sight and spiritual hearing, uh, clairvoyance, clairaudience. Um, because I had a dream last night. I was performing spells with me and my coven sister, uh, focusing on developing and strengthening my spiritual sight and healing, um, while in the dream. So I thought it would be a wonderful topic of discussion, and for this reading that I'm going to be doing uh, is to help the collective, for those of you who click onto this video or feel guided to look at this video, how to help the collective develop their spiritual sight and hearing. So let's just get started. I have a few decks over here. I have my vintage Oracle Wisdom, and let's see what they have to say about how to develop your spiritual sight and healing, your spiritual sight and hearing. Some of you may have been on a spiritual healing journey that's helping you develop those spiritual and psychic abilities. So let's see what the cards have to say. How can the collective develop their spiritual sight? How can they develop their spiritual sight, their third eye? How can the collective work to develop their third eye? How can the collective develop their... Okay. How can the collective develop their spiritual sight? How can the collective develop their spiritual sights? Their spiritual sight and spiritual hearing. How can the collective... Let me reshuffle again just to make sure. That was a lot of cards that just fell out of my hand, so let's try this again. How can the collective develop their spiritual sights? How can the collective develop their spiritual sights? There you are. Oh, okay. Whew. So we got a few cards. We got New Beginnings, Celebration, and Boogeyman. So it seems the collective has already been working on trying to develop their clairvoyant abilities, their clair abilities, but I'm focused on the Boogeyman card. On the Boogeyman card that popped out. Because we have New Beginnings and Celebration here. These were sideways in the transitional phase, transitional position. So already working, oops. Well, my vids aren't monetized and probably won't be monetized anytime soon. So, yeah, forgot. YouTube has a thing about nudity, so let me just cover her up real quick. I completely forgot she was naked. Yeah, so we have New Beginnings and Celebration. Some of you were in the process of developing your psychic abilities, or you're attempting to. You've had some milestones reached. You did some cleansings, uh, some spiritual cleansings, probably around your crown chakra, and probably did some like body cleanses, like full energy cleanses. But I think this is more of a psychological issue when it comes to developing your spiritual sight and hearing. We have the boogeyman card upright. So it could be that there is like this mental blockage, possibly due to like a old fear, like a childhood fear, um, or like yeah, like a childhood fear. Maybe you had the ability to see and hear uh, what's on the other side. You probably had the ability to communicate with the deceased as a medium, but you probably had an experience that may have uh, that really had this negative impression onto you, and that it scared you so much that you didn't want to interact with the other side anymore. You kind of just mentally tuned it out. And for others, if that message didn't resonate, then for others, some of you just generally, just in general, have a fear of the unknown. Like you're afraid to communicate with the unknown. Says, as life unfolds and shadow overpowers light, will my innocence be left untouched? Yeah, there is this fear of what you might encounter if you do develop your spiritual uh, hearing and your spiritual sight. That's what I'm getting from this card. Like there's still this need to get past this obstacle, like this mental block, in order to flourish. To flourish, having these new abilities, because we have the new beginnings card. She's holding this little baby cherub in the card. This mortal woman interacting with this supernatural element on the card. You know, getting past this mental blockage, you could have a more seamless time having better direct communication with your guides. Because I know some of us out there may be, used to either using, oracle cards, tarot, different divination tools, like reading tea leaves or scrying or bones, or just waiting for them to appear in your dreams. I know I know some of us in the collective use that to interact with our guides, or look for synchronicities, messages that they may send, numbers or animals as a form of communication. But sometimes uh, it's when it comes to like deciphering the message, having a clear cut answer. Sometimes you kind of have to guess and look at the context of what those messages mean, or what you get from the guides, from your guides, if you use divination tools or rely on synchronicities and reoccurring images or numbers and stuff of that nature, or songs that you may see, and having to decipher and interpret that. Sometimes having direct communication, like being able to talk face to face with one's guides, can, make it can make like get deciphering their messages a lot more, a lot more coherent when you're able to just, see them face to face and hear them face to face and just say, you know what, just tell me exactly what you want to tell me, So yeah, there could be this new beginning on the horizon for your budding abilities. So congratulations, it's a celebration for that. Uh, Butterflies can also represent passed on loved ones, messengers from the other side, and it could be a cause for celebration. It doesn't have to be some, incredibly spooky, terrifying, traumatizing event. It can just be so mundane as watching a butterfly fly by. 11:11 when I looked at that camera clock. So there's this need. There's this need that the universe needs the collective to do, is like to surrender to these new changes and these new beginnings, to allow the changes to take place, because it doesn't have to be a scary event. It doesn't have to be something to be feared, So let's get some more cards about this spiritual sight that you're developing. The spiritual sight. Oh, okay. Okay, secret sketches. Wander and seek the familiar and friendly kind. Draw memories and sketches for others to find. From my Divine Doors deck. And it's a blue door. So there's a lot of throat chakra, lots of throat chakra energy, self-expression with the Secret Sketches card. So yeah, you can find friendly and familiar, some of you may actually have familiars on the other side. If you're, into witchcraft in general, some of you may have your own familiars that might actually be trying to get in contact with you. And some of you, like when you do achieve awakening, this spiritual sight, this spiritual hearing, you might just end up first encountering, your spirit guides that have been waiting to have like closer communication, more direct communication to you and to interact with you more. Spirit guides could be passed on loved ones, ancestors that are here for your highest good and that are here to guide and protect you. Could be deities that you work with in your practice. Stuff of that nature. See, it doesn't have to be a scary event. Because we got 3 of Cups at the bottom of the Divine Doors deck. A toast of friendship in the afternoon sun. 3 cups and happiness. 3 cheers are done. And the 3 cups card at the bottom of the deck reminds me of the 3 cups card in the tarot, in the original Rider-Waite tarot. It is a card of celebration, of coming together with like-minded people in celebration. Okay, in celebrations, like when you're finally able to hear and see your spirit guides that have been, lurking around you for as long as you can remember. It's going to be a celebration. Y'all are going to, be happy and party and be like, hey, what took you so long? Been trying to get in touch with you. You know, we've been trying to have you see us and see our faces. Eh, it could be a very fun event. Let's talk more about the developments of the spiritual hearing. Helping the collective develop their spiritual hearing. Okay. So some of your spiritual hearing may be blocked by self-doubt and shadows deep, fears and doubt creep, a specter haunting where courage sleeps. So some of you may be doubting the messages you have been receiving. Like some of you may have had glimpses or, you know, would have glimpses of like hearing the voices of your spirit guides or them trying to get into contact with you, but you doubt whether or not if this is, you know, a true guide or an imposter spirit, you know? Because sometimes that happens too. We have to be very careful and very vigilant to make sure like we're not interacting with tricksters or imposters, you know, trying to lead you astray or trying to have access to your energy and trying to harvest from your energy. I made a video about that too on this channel called "Beware the Shapeshifter" or "Beware the Trickster" months ago. So if you're interested in that video, feel free to watch it. But yeah, another reason why the collective may be having a hard time of, you know, trying to develop and progress their spiritual abilities could be, you know, a mixture of fear of encountering a not so good entity, you know, an unsavory energy, or, you know, just being very, very cautious, like a very, like overly cautious to, in order to make sure that they're not inviting in any dangerous or nefarious energies around them. So, what could be interfering with your spiritual hearing is a little bit of self doubt. And we also have the mummy. Between the ancient past and the modern world, and is there any place where I belong? That came out along with the self doubt card. So yeah, there's like this. Yeah, there's this a lot of questioning about, you know, what you meet on the other side of whether this is an actual entity or deity that you're supposed to be, you know, interacting with. If you were to, you know, be able to hear and see spirits, what are you encountering? It's like, are you encountering a loved one, or are you encountering, you know, some other spirit that just has not, you know, that has not passed on yet? You know, are you encountering like the psychic echoes of someone else? Like, like you question whether or not like this entity, this being, like, is it something for you that's something meant for you to interact with, you know? How about some closing message for the collective and their development of their spiritual abilities, their spiritual sight and hearing? Any closing messages? Any closing messages? This deck is bigger than my hand. Gotta shuffle it this way. Ah, okay. Enchantments. Okay. We have enchantments. Sideways. So, this goes back to my dream that I was talking about earlier in the video. Enchantments. So, enchantments usually can be synonymous with, magic or glamour. I talked about how in my dream I used a spell with me and my coven sister to uh, help awaken my spiritual sight and hearing. And perhaps this is also a confirmation for the collective to do the same. It was in the sideways. It was in the sideways position. So uh, some of you have probably been like thinking about whether or not to go forth and do some spell work in order to uh, help clear any blockages or hidden obstacles that keep you from developing your spiritual abilities. Some of you may be drawn to mermaids or sirens. Some of you may be drawn to working with Oshun or Aphrodite or Leviathan, water entities, entities or deities that work with water. Or some of you may need to use water as an element in order to help you connect deeper to your intuition, because the moon has control over the tides, over the ocean's tides, and it's also in astrology, it's also linked to intuition and emotion. So there's some more advice for you if you were thinking about trying to use magic in order to bring your psychic abilities online into equilibrium, in order to fully awaken mediumship abilities. That could be an avenue to consider. All right, well, I'm gonna stop this video here. If you enjoyed my reading, feel free to like, share, comment, subscribe. You know what to do. And I will see you all next time. And yeah, take care of yourselves. Bye.